Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for holding this important hearing, and thank you to all the witnesses for being here today. 3 of you are local to Washington, D.C., but as the chair mentioned, Mark Reese is here from Seattle as the managing director of the Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. We thank you for traveling here and being with us today. In 2004, over 660 million air passengers traveled in our domestic aviation system. That means that people are spending time in 389 of our commercial airports. And that comprises the core of our air transportation network. These airports come in all shapes and sizes, but each one is critical to the community it serves, and it helps support the economy. The impact of air service on our nation cannot be overstated. Just to ask any community that has fought to keep commercial service, or whether connected by commercial service or general aviation, an airport is indispensable to the elements of a public infrastructure, just like roads and transit are connections for our public citizens. We're here today to discuss the current state of our airport infrastructure and what we can do to make sure that that infrastructure meets the needs of every community. And while we must consider our airports as an integrated system, just as we do air traffic control operations, which are inherently local, we'll have a lot of discussion about that this morning. Managed by public aviation authorities or local governments, each airport has a mission to serve its community and provide connectivity to families and friends and the global economy. Some of our airports have kept pace with the rate of growth, but others have fallen behind, and we constantly hear complaints about the infrastructure needs in various parts of our country. Across the country, airports reflect the community they serve, and this is important. It's a very important economic development tool for any community. This is one of the reasons why Congress created the passenger facility charge in 1990 to fund airport infrastructure investment. These PFCs, which may be collected as part of an airline ticket, are locally levied user fees that are invested back into the airport. While the PFC is a critical component of airport funding, it is one of the several funding streams available to airports, which also include the FAA's improvement program, tax-exempt bonds, and state and local government grants. And I hope that this morning we'll be able to get into some of the discussion about those various revenue streams and how we move forward on moving legislation. As Congress debates whether to increase the PFC or to keep so that we can keep pace with economic growth, we must consider how airports will invest these dollars. And part of this discussion, I hope we can find ways to improve the passenger experience and keep commerce moving. Many of the airport's experience do directly impact passengers. And Madam Chair, last time we did a large comprehensive bill, we had a passenger's Bill of Rights that I think was very important in reviewing the needs of the traveling public. And I think we should get an update on that and look at possible new issues that we need to address. But obviously airports have different business models that are about helping to return economic benefit back into the infrastructure. So we really want to look at that as we look at the demand on that infrastructure over the next several decades. Some airports, and I'm sure SeaTac will tell us about this today, about how much growth they're trying to meet and how do they meet that growth without some tools for infrastructure investment. Airports and aviation in general have tried to become more efficient, and I'm sure we're going to hear about that today as well. I think one issue that we really want to understand is how we all move more aggressively towards the implementation of the next-gen system, because there are efficiencies there. But airports have done everything from providing for conditioned air to planes parked at gates, to enabling them to save fuel off their power unit systems, to providing electrical power to airlines to convert their airport fleets to run on electricity, to operating its own ramp tower, which allows controllers to efficiently guide aircraft to and from 69 mainline aircraft gates. So the accumulation of these projects have resulted in a reduction of over 55,000 metric tons of greenhouse gases, and they've resulted in annual savings of approximately $20 million for airlines who serve SeaTac. So obviously that's good news for both SeaTac and for those airlines. And we want to think more about how we implement next gen across the airport system, which is a lot of coordination by both the airports and the airlines and the FAA. but there are real savings there, and we need to focus on how we help with those savings, make investments into this infrastructure. Finally, I know that many members of this committee in Congress have concerns about the health of the contract tower program. Contract towers provide a vital layer of safety to the national airspace system, and I look forward to hearing from our panel about this important issue. Our airports are a critical component of civil aviation system, and I know that we'll have a lively discussion about this, but again, airports are key economic tools to any community, and we need to continue to keep them to be robust aspects of our transportation system. So thank you, Madam Chair, and I look forward to hearing from the witnesses.